Hi guys, we're now going to talk about equations, expressions, and inequalities. So an equation is something that has an equal sign. Okay, so an equation has an equal sign. That's how we know if something's an equation. An example would be 2 plus 3 equals 5. That's an equation because there's an equal sign. You could also say some number x plus 2 equals 13. That's an equation because there's an equal sign. We have a number, we're adding 2 to it, but we know that it equals 13. That equal sign makes this an equation. So just remember, an equation has an equal sign. Next one we want to talk about is an expression. So when we're talking about an expression has numbers, variables, and operations. So if we have 2 times 3 plus x, that is an expression. It has 2 and a 3. It has a variable x. It has multiplication here, because remember the parentheses default is multiplication, and we have addition. But there's no equal sign. You cannot solve an expression without extra information, because we know that 2 times 3 is 6, and then we're adding 6 to some unknown number x. But we don't know what the x is. There is no answer to this. This is saying some number plus 6. If you don't know what the number is, we're not going to know what the answer is. So there's no answer to an expression. There's no solving an expression unless we get some more information in there. Just as it is, that's the simplified version. We can do the 2 times 3, but we cannot do the 6 plus x because we don't know what x is. And then the third one we're going to talk about is the inequalities. Okay, so inequalities talks about things being unequal. They're not equal, they're unequal, so to speak. So if somebody has 5 cookies and somebody else has 7 cookies, who has more cookies? The 7 is obviously a bigger number than the 5, so we need to use an inequality symbol. This is one of the inequality symbols. Notice that the open bigger end points towards the bigger number and the smaller pointy end goes towards the smaller number. One way I always like to remember this is the smaller pointy end points to the smaller number because it's smaller, and the bigger end, some people talk about it as being like the alligator eats the bigger number or eats the bigger meal. So 7 is bigger and 5 is smaller. We would read this as 5 is less than 7. So that's how you would read that inequality. So some of the symbols for inequality, there's 4 symbols for inequality. That's the less than. That's the more than. This is less than or equal to. And then you have the greater than or equal to. Okay, so the 4 different, trying to get that there, the 4 different symbols of inequalities that we can use in math.